Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the Chair of the Rochford District Council, Councillor Sarah Jane Page, the Vice Chair of the Council, Councillor Joe McPherson, the Deputy Chief Executive, Paul Birkinshaw, and the Reverend Glenn Mansfield.
Members and visitors, could I ask everyone to note the fire safety instruction? There are no fire drills planned for this evening. In the event of the fire alarm sounding, please leave the building via the nearest exit and make your way to the assembly point located in the Market car park adjacent to the Civic Suite building. I would like to remind you all to switch your phones off or turn them to silent. Please note that the meeting will be live streamed, where the proceedings are capable of being repeat viewing. Members of the public can record this meeting, providing this does not disturb with the meeting, and can be done from the seats reserved for this purpose. Therefore, please raise your hand clearly if you intend to take photographs or film this evening. No one's indicating. Please ensure that you speak clearly into the microphone and ensure that you switch off your microphone when you have finished speaking. If you are seated in the public area of the chamber, it is likely that your image will be captured on the recording cameras and the result in your image being part of the broadcast. Finally, if members are, for any reason, not present for the whole debate on an item, you should consider and seek advice as necessary on whether it would be appropriate for you to vote on that item. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, please stand for the Reverend Glenn Mansfield if you are able to.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year to you all. It's great to see you here. Thank you for coming this evening. I'm just going to briefly read a verse from Paul's letter to Timothy. Paul writes, I urge you that petitions, prayers, intercessions and thanksgivings be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in godliness and holiness. So Paul tells Timothy and therefore instructs the church to pray for all those in authority. So hence I'm here to pray for you this evening, and we as a church also pray for you at other times. So let's pray. Father, I give you thanks for those who serve our community by being on the council. We pray, Lord, that you'd renew them physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually for the challenges they face this year. Give them an accurate view of the past and wisdom to discern the future. And may there be peace, prosperity and righteousness in our local community. Amen. I'm going to pray the Lord's Prayer. If you'd like to join in, feel free to do so. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Reverend Glenn Mansfield. Thank you. So we're going to start with item 1, which is apologies for absence. We have received apologies from Councillor J. Gooding, Councillor R. Lambourne, Councillor R. Milne, Councillor Mrs. V. Wilson, Councillor P. Capon, Councillor E. Mason, Councillor A. Williams and Councillor Phil Shaw. Is there any other apologies? Councillor Burton.
Thank you.
Belton, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Councillor Ian Ward, apologies. I thought it had been emailed in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 2, minutes of the meeting held on the 17th of December. Are the minutes agreed with you, members?
Agreed, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Item 3, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No, thank you. Okay, well, we're coming into the announcements and I will begin with mine. So a big welcome to everyone tonight to our full council meeting. This is the first council meeting of 2025, may I wish you all a very happy and contented new year. I had a very busy December attending many carol services and civic events. In particular, we attended the South Essex Youth Orchestra's performance at the Methodist Church in Rayleigh. What a remarkable evening, listening to the beautiful music being performed by so many young people and talented young people. It was great also to attend the relaunch of the Rochford Library at the start of the new year, with its Rochford District Council hub for the public to access essential services provided by our council. Then the fabulous performance of Cinderella at the Mill Hall by Show Up Productions and their talented Rachel, supported by our council through the UK SPF funds. This coming Friday, on behalf of Rochford District Council, there will be a Holocaust memorial service at the Mill Arts and Events Centre. It commences at 11 a.m. in the upstairs hall. This event is open to you all and our residents and community. It provides an opportunity for us all to pause and remember the millions of people who have been murdered or whose lives were changed beyond recognition during the Holocaust, Nazi persecution, and his subsequent genocides, including those in Bosnia. Please may I remind you also to continue to spread the word that the Citizen of the Year nominations are still open. Please can you encourage your residents and groups within the district to take the time to nominate those people who go above and beyond. Some are amazing heroes and deserve recognition for all that they do. The awards will be presented at my civic dinner, which will take place on the 28th of March at the Mill and Arts Centre. I hope to see you all in attendance and supporting the citizens winning their awards, together with supporting my amazing charities. I'm very much looking forward to attending many more events in our district and meeting more wonderful residents, community groups, schools and businesses in the coming months. Please can I also ask you to take the time to introduce yourself to Oksana Sashuk, our new civic officer, and give her a very warm welcome to our council. At the end of the meeting, when business is concluded, I am inviting you all to a reception, which unfortunately we couldn't have at Christmas, which was the tradition, because of the amount of business on our agenda, but we will be doing a buffet and some refreshments. Thank you very much, members. I'm now going to ask Councillor James Newport, the leader, if he would like to make some announcements, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I just start, Chairman, by congratulating you, Councillor Linden and Councillor Cross on the London Bridges Walk and all the members of staff that took part for charity. Well done to you all. So, members, I've got an update tonight on the government's devolution white paper. At the last full council meeting held on the 17th of December was very shortly after the government published its devolution white paper. As part of my announcements at the meeting, I advised of this and I would continue to update full council. Since the last meeting, as members will be aware, the upper tier local authorities in Essex, the County Council, Thurrock and Southend councils have written to the government to request inclusion on the government's priority programme for devolution, which includes a commitment to local government reorganisation. Essex County Council and Thurrock Council have also requested the postponement of elections scheduled for May this year in their areas. Southend-on-Sea City Council has no planned elections for 2025. A response from government as to whether Essex will be in the priority programme is expected by the end of January. These matters would of course have significant implications for this council and the residents of this district over the next few years. I intend to bring a report to full council meeting in February where there is clarity on whether Essex will be in the priority programme or not, to provide further detail and an opportunity for an informed debate. It will also enable me to provide an update following a meeting of Essex leaders and chief executive group that is scheduled to be held on the 31st of January. I have sent details of the briefing sessions which are open to all members in Greater Essex to attend, which will provide an overview of the white paper and its potential implications for Essex and give members an opportunity to ask any questions. These are being held on Monday the 27th of January and Tuesday the 4th of January. And if any members haven't received that, please get in touch with me. I did send it to all councillors. An update on our meeting with Essex County Council, re the highways. At the last meeting of full council, I updated members following the resolution of the 17th of September 2024, at which it was resolved that I write to Essex County Council Cabinet member to express our concerns regarding the condition of the highways in the district and to ask them to attend a meeting of full council to discuss these concerns. Following my last update to full council, I am pleased to advise that myself and Councillor Sutton, who moved the motion regarding the matter, are scheduled to meet with Essex County Council Cabinet member on the 12th of February. Following this meeting on the 12th of February, I will of course update full council further at our meeting on the 18th. And finally, the Freight House Task and Finish group have met on a couple of occasions with further meetings diarised with the aim to report back to the Strategy, Finance and Policy Committee before the end of the municipal year. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Leader. May I now invite the Deputy Chief Executive, Paul Birkinshaw, to make some announcements.
Just one announcement, Chairman, if I may. I just wanted to take the opportunity to inform Council and recognise the excellent work of the Council's licensing team. They've just received the Silver Award from the RSPCA for the work they do in connection with animal activity licensing. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. So moving on, before we go into the formal business of this evening's agenda, can I just gently remind all members to be respectful of any other members speaking and try to keep any informal discussion, and I do understand that's necessary sometimes, especially as we have so many new councillors as well, to keep it to a minimum, the height that you're speaking, because we are now in the Civic Suite, not a huge hall, so it does actually resonate back to the dais and to other members quite strongly. Thank you very much. So we're moving on to item 5. And we don't have public and member questions, and we don't have any of those. Well, sorry, we don't have any public questions, but we do definitely have a member question. So, members, we have received one question from members of the council, which set out on page 5.1 of the electronic agenda and which have been circulated to all members. Question 1 is from Councillor Ian Wilson, and it is directed to Councillor Michael Hoy, the Deputy Leader of the Council. May I now invite Councillor Ian Wilson to read out his question.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair. My question is, at a full council in December, on the 17th, Councillor Hoy stated there were many projects in the pipeline expected to put demands on council finances in the future. So could I please ask Councillor Hoy to, in the interest of openness and transparency, and also in light of the impending devolution, whether he anticipates sharing details of these projects with the members and all local residents in order that residents may know what it is that their money is being spent on. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask Councillor Michael Hoy to respond, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The budget for 2025-26, a medium-term financial strategy for 2025-26 to 2029-30, will be presented to Council for agreement on the 18th of February 2025. Within the report will be an update on the various projects that require funding. Prior to coming to Council, the budget report will go to Strategy, Finance and Policy Committee on the 28th of January 2025 for approval. Not all of the pipeline schemes will be included in the budget, as there is still work being carried out on feasibility. It is likely that further schemes will be reported to Council in June, July 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hoy. Can I invite Councillor Ian Wilson to ask a supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Councillor Hoy. I'm pleased that there are indeed specified items in the pipeline. If just a little bit concerned that some of these are not budgeted for.
Excuse me, can you please stand in the chamber? Thank you very much.
My apologies. I'm very pleased to hear what we have. I'm pleased to hear that there are specified items coming up that are now going to be specified in the budget. I'm a little bit concerned that there are still some items that are stated as pipeline but are not budgeted for and will therefore be coming before this council for more funding. Thank you.
Councillor Hoy, would you like to respond?
Sorry, I'm not sure there was a question there. Can I have clarification?
I'm sorry. My question essentially is I'm concerned that where there's more money going to be asked for next year that we can see coming over the horizon that isn't budgeted for. So I'm asking for what that is.
Sorry, are you asking where they're going to get the money from? What you're actually asking the question? Sorry, Councillor Wilson.
Sorry, I'm asking when we're going to know how much this represents and then at that point where the money's coming from.
Councillor Hoy.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I think my answer is refer to my previous answer. It would be in the budget and later on after feasibility studies have been carried out.
Thank you very much. Moving on now to item 6, business from the last council meeting, motions on notice. We have 2 motions on notice deferred from the last council meeting. These are listed starting on page 6.1. And motion 1 from Councillor Adrian Eaves. I'm now going to invite Councillor Eaves to move his motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. The motion itself reads, this council recognises the need for the Climate and Nature (CAN) bill that is currently being presented in Parliament to encourage our local MPs in support of the debate on the bill. The Climate and Nature Bill is a hugely important piece of proposed legislation, essential for delivering on the UK government's aims to rapidly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and halt the reverse nature loss by 2030. It has the support of MPs across the political parties, but it is yet to receive Labour's firm backing. There will be a vote on this in Parliament next Friday, on the 24th of January, and 102 MPs must vote in favour of it to progress to the next stage. Friday is a day when MPs often try to prioritise events in their local constituencies, so it is important to persuade them of the importance of attending and voting in support of that day. I hope that this council will, by agreeing to this motion, send a message to our MPs that we would like to see their support in the reading in Parliament. The Environment Act 2021 fails to look at the root causes of the climate and ecological breakdown, and crucially, it fails to recognise the interconnectivity of climate and nature. This is a very complicated piece of legislation and can be summarised in saying that instead of stopping the decline, which the Environment Act is largely doing, it's working for restoration. It's filling in the gaps of the Environment Act, and it's giving us a positive way forward where we're linking science and nature to see the positive future for the greenhouse and nature problems that we are seeing at the moment. So I'd like to recommend that for acceptance to the council. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm a point of order, please, Madam Chairman. I've heard what Councillor Eve says, and I was trying to read the motion at the same time. I'm not sure if I've got the same paperwork because it wasn't what he said on my paperwork for the motion.
Yeah, I think you elaborated a little bit from what we've got.
I do apologise. I felt that members would have had a reading of what has actually been presented to them, and they would have benefited by a little bit of more information is around the bill. One thing I do need to ask is that on the paragraph before the end, if I can just ask for a very small change to that, and that is on the last sentence there. It says it covers issues that are deeply connected to the community in our district, and we're wanting the, I think it's there, hang on a minute. What we'd like to do there is actually to state that we would like to include district councils and parish councils in support of this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like now to invite, I understand, Councillor Booth, you're seconding this motion, yeah? Would you like to reserve your right? Would you like to speak?
No, I'd like to reserve my right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you very much. So, members, we're opening up for
Sorry, Madam
debate.
Chair, just on a paper, I'm really not sure what I'm supporting. Is the motion as written down
Yes,
in the order paper?
yes,
I've been
apart
put to-
from, we've added in
said.
district and parish.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mike Steptoe.
Chairman, I'd like a little bit of guidance as far as the parishes are concerned, perhaps from the monitor officer on this. Can we actually decide whether the parishes are in support of this?
Yeah, it's about encouraging them.
I think, Chairman, in terms of the clarification, I think the amendment is in the last paragraph, building up local support, rather than including that of our local councils, actually to give some clarity in terms of districts and town and parish. Clearly, the district council cannot compel town and parish councils, but I think, as has been mentioned, I think it's around encouraging them to support it if they feel they're able to do so.
Do we have anyone else that would like to speak, please? Councillor Daniel Belton.
Thank you. Just to say that I'm more than happy to support this motion. I think given the direction of travel from government wanting to concrete over the country, everything we can do to support nature needs to happen, and I'm more than happy to support tonight.
Thank you. Councillor Hoy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to thank Councillor Eves for bringing this to the Council. It wasn't something I was too aware of before December, and I was very pleased to read up on it. It would appear to be a Liberal Democrat-supported motion being put through by the Liberal Democrat member at Parliament, and all I just want to say is I'll be fully supporting this, and thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Councillor Newport. James Newport.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Climate and Nature Bill, although it's brought forward as a private member's bill, is officially supported by the Liberal Democrat Party at a national and local level. We recognise that the Act can deliver the bold new science-led framework Britain needs and begin to restore the UK's position as a leader on climate and nature action. The bill would require the Secretary of State to achieve climate and nature targets for the UK, to give the Secretary of State a duty to implement a strategy to achieve those targets, creating the urgency that is clearly missing at the moment. Therefore, Madam Chairman, I'm more than happy to support this motion.
Councillor John Mason.
Thank you, Chair. No surprise, I'll be supporting the motion as well, particularly as it came from the RDR group, at the request of residents. So that's a great circle to square. I'd just like to record in public how disappointed I am that Donald J. Trump has decided that the United States of America shall withdraw from the Paris Accord. That is something that I'm very sad to see, very sad to hear, and more particularly, within this bill, there is a need for the United Kingdom, if adopted, to ensure that imports don't prejudice our climate change initiatives. So be warned, Donald J. Trump, we're after you.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. Anybody else would like to speak, please? Okay, so Councillor Booth, I'm going to invite you now then to, because you reserved your right to speak, so you can come in and then I'll take it back to Adrian Eves, Councillor Adrian Eves, to do the rest.
Well, I'm delighted to hear this evening that there seems to be cross-party support from this chamber tonight for this very important bill that I think resonates very well with residents in our district, being in a rural and semi-rural environment. There's a real desire amongst young people and children to make the environment a better place, not just for them, but the future as well. And I hope that every member here can support our children's aspirations for their future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Booth. Councillor Adrian Eves. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank members for their support for the motion, and I'd like to just recommend that we accept this motion as written. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So all in favour of this motion, please. That's unanimous. Thank you very much, members. So moving on to motion 2 from Councillor Daniel Belton. May I invite you now to move your motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you're aware, this motion was originally put in December but had to be moved due to the size of the agenda. We've subsequently had an Environment Committee, and I'm confident that the action plan for fly tipping covers the need for alternative provisions for those in alternative areas of the district. So on that basis, I'm more than happy to withdraw the motion because I'm confident this is already taken forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Belton. So, members, we now have 2 reports before us. Can I remind members that if any question arises from a member's speech, I will ask the relevant committee chair or vice chair to respond at the end of the member's speech. They may in turn ask the relevant officer to respond on their behalf. In accordance with Council Procedure Rule 16.5, there is not then an opportunity for the member that asks the question to speak again. All speeches have a time limit of 5 minutes. Moving on to item 7, polling place review. The report begins on page 7.1 of your agendas. I would like to invite George Sullivan, the Electoral Services Manager, to introduce the report, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. The report before you, Chamber, thank you, is just proposing a change to polling district within the PA, within the Wheatley ward. The council did have a full review of all polling districts last year, and so this is just necessary because of proposed changes for county council elections that the leader has already mentioned may or may not take place this year, but we are working on the basis for the time being that they will proceed, and therefore that's the purpose of this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sullivan. I would like now to invite the leader, Councillor James Newport, to move the recommendations.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to move the recommendations on page 7.1, R1 and R2 as written. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Hoy, I understand you would like to second, and would you like to reserve right or speak?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Chair, I will second those, but I don't need to speak on them.
Thank you very much. Members, can we go to debate now? Or indicate if you would like to speak. Yeah, so I'm going to propose that we actually go straight to the vote on this, if that's okay with you members. Yep, okay, all those in favour then, please. Unanimous again. It's beautiful, isn't it? Unanimous, thank you very much. So we're going to item 8, the Local Council Tax Support Scheme 2025 to 2026 and discretionary reduction in council tax liability policy 2025 to 2026. This report begins on page 8.1 of your agendas. I will now invite David Dickinson, the Strategic Director Resources and Chief Financial bracket S151 close bracket officer to introduce the report.
Thank you, Chairman. The report provides details of the proposed local council tax support scheme and discretionary reduction in council tax liability policy. This report has to come to council each year to agree, but the report is the same as it has been for a number of years now. That's all.
Thank you very much, Mr Dickinson. I would now like to invite our leader, Councillor James Newport, to move these recommendations.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the recommendations on page 8.1, R1 and R2 as in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Councillor James Newport. Councillor Michael Hoy, would you like to reserve right? I do also understand your seconding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll second them. May I speak now?
Yes, you may.
Right, okay. I will be brief. I'm just delighted to be able to second this report after actually proposing it last year, I believe. This incorporates changes that I did lobby the then Conservative administration for years about, and I do remember how pleasantly surprised I was when some of those changes were put forward by the then Councillor Simon Smith. And it does show that we can work together across political divides in this chamber, and I just want to mention that now. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hoy. Members, I'm going to open that up for debate, so please indicate if you'd like to speak. No, that's a good one as well. So members, can we go to the vote on that then, please? All those in favour, please. Members, that's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. So we move to item 9, which is motions on notice, and we have no motions on notice. And then item 10, any urgent business. There are no urgent business. So this actually completes our business for this evening. It's 8:05 p.m. and I am closing the meeting. Thank you very much indeed. And as I say, you're all very welcome to join us for a buffet and some refreshments now. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the Chair of the Council, Councillor Sarah Jane Page, the Vice Chair of the Council, Councillor Joe McPherson, and the Deputy Chief Executive, Paul Birkinshaw.